Alexander Titov, who is a lecturer at Queen's University Belfast and a Russia Affairs analyst. He joins me now live from Belfast. Thank you so much, Alexander, for being with us. So firstly, can I get your reaction to this attack that's taken place on a senior Russian general in Moscow, happening as it has on the same day as these talks between Steve Witkoff and Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, so it's a very significant and symbolic attack. Symbolic because of the high-ranking official, symbolic because of it happening on the same day that the Americans are trying to put the final touches to the peace proposal. It's not unusual as your reports were mentioning, but at the same time, this assassination types of inside Moscow, away from the front line of high Russian generals, is really something which is extremely escalatory, really, in terms of a Ukrainian approach. And obviously, it has can be prepared in a day. It's been preparing for a long time, and they decided to do it today. So yeah, it's a big escalatory step, which probably gives another argument to the Russians, to Putin, saying, like, look who we're dealing with, we're trying to talk with you, and they're just killing people away from the front line in the middle of a city. Yeah.
And Alexander, going to those talks between Putin and Witkoff today, the reports are that those talks were constructive, that the differences between the US and Russia were narrowed. What do you make of those lines? And is this looking like, where things are going, that Russia and the US are going to make a deal potentially without the input of Ukraine on its red lines?
Well, you can't make a deal without Ukraine. Because Ukraine then won't be able to won't be signing it. So, but there is obviously much more progress between Russia and the United States on contours of a possible deal than between the United States and Ukraine, and that's broadly actually playing very well into Russia's hands, because if Trump, as he threatens to do, leaves the whole thing aside and moves to somewhere else by seizing supply of weapons, intelligence, and so forth to Ukraine, that would be a clear Russian gain in itself. So that would actually be a good outcome for Russia. For Ukraine, it would be a terrible outcome. So it's extremely precarious situation for Ukraine, either to play along with the United States, which essentially pushing very much a deal which is favorable to Russia, simply because Russia has an upper hand on the battlefield. There's very few leverages over Moscow that United States have compared to Kiev. But at the same time, if Kiev refuses, or seen as being refusing to do it, then the outcome would be very very bad for Kiev as well. So it's a very very difficult position for Ukraine to be in.
And Alexander, there was also talk today that there was discussion about the possibility of getting Ukraine and Russia in the same room together. So how do you think that would go, especially given there are red lines remaining on both sides, particularly the issue of Crimea? Do you think those issues will be able to be nutted out if the two get in the room together?
No, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because obviously they've been talking in Turkey in March 2022, and then those talks collapsed. I don't believe, personally, I don't believe that these talks will produce a deal anyway, whatever is happening now. I think that the Ukraine, as Klitschko was saying and so forth, is not really ready to accept a deal where there is a kind of a permanent settlement. All they want is a temporary pause, because they're losing on the battleground, so they want to pause, to regroup, to rearm, and then continue the struggle. Russia understands it well, and if you look carefully, there has been a clear shift from Trump's position in terms of ceasefire first and then we negotiate everything later. Russia was always against it, and now they're actually negotiating a deal before the ceasefire. So I think a deal which is not acceptable to Ukraine. And for Ukraine, basically, it's what is acceptable to it and what is actual reality on the ground. It's such a wide gap between those two things that it's difficult to see whether they are accepting any deal at all, because they have still not fully internally accepted that there will be permanent losses to the territory. So in that case, the fighting will have to continue, and then probably in a year's time, when Ukraine lost even more territory and finally accepting that it will never be able to have an upper hand over Russia on the battlefield, the Trump deal will work. But I think it's just coming a little bit too early, about a year too early for it really to work.
Alexander Titov, lecturer at Queen's University, Belfast, and Russia Affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.